Hello again. Welcome back to my channel. It is Finished Ministries. My name is Ursulon Cockrell. Thank you for joining me again. I have an exciting video for you today. As someone who freshly came out of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, I'm here to reveal to you one of the biggest lies, the entire basis for which the church was founded, and the misunderstanding of Daniel chapter 8. The Adventist Church believes in 1844, as a result of this prophecy, that Jesus stepped into the most holy place and began the work of the Day of Atonement. And it is their job, their message, to deliver this to the world. And I'm here to reveal to you why they have gotten this so wrong. And this is the very basis for which the church was founded, and their existence depends so heavily upon this. And we're about to chop it out from under them. And if I have any Seventh-day Adventist friends here watching, trust me guys, I love you. This is not personal. This is about the message that's being taught, and it's a false one. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the entire prophecy of Daniel chapter 8. What I will say is a little horn emerges. Among dispensationalists and preterists, they believe this is Antiochus Epiphanes. I do not believe that. There's too much of a connection to Daniel chapter 9 that we want to get into. For example, in chapter 8, Gabriel goes to Daniel in verse 16 to give Daniel understanding of the vision. By the end of the chapter, Daniel faints. He gets sick and he has no understanding. That's verse 27. In chapter 9, Gabriel again appears to Daniel to give him understanding and skill of the vision. That's the vision in chapter 8. Daniel receives the 70 weeks prophecy. At the end, in Daniel chapter 10, verse 1, it says Daniel understood the vision. The vision was true. The time appointed was long. So he now has understanding of the vision from chapter 8. So that's the background here. The Seventh-day Adventist Church gets that correct. Where they go extremely wrong is they separate the 70 weeks from the 2300 days by saying it was cut out of. Now, point number one. The Seventh-day Adventist Church separates the cleansing of the sanctuary in Daniel chapter 8 verse 14 from the 70 weeks prophecy. That's a grave mistake, right? Because they believe the cleansing of the sanctuary, the Day of Atonement, is when Jesus stepped into the most holy place. But in Daniel chapter 9 verse 14, we are told that the 70 weeks prophecy, part of it was to make reconciliation. That is the same word that means to atone for iniquity. And it's the same word used in Leviticus 16, to make atonement for iniquity. So part of the 70 weeks prophecy was to fulfill the Day of Atonement. And we see that also by the putting away of sin. We don't have time to go into that in full depth, but the fulfillment of Daniel chapter 8, the cleansing of the sanctuary, when Jesus would enter the most holy place and cleanse it, we see in chapter 9. This is being fulfilled within the 70 weeks prophecy, the timeline of that, which is confined to the first century, to atone for iniquity. Point number two, the Adventist believes there's only one intersection of these prophecies. That is that the 70 weeks was cut out of the larger 2300 days prophecy, which they believe is a day for a year. So they believe 70 weeks, 490 years, was cut out of the 70 weeks of the 2300 year prophecy. Again, grave mistake. The entirety of the 70 weeks prophecy is a repeat of the 2300 days. So the events of the 2300 day prophecy are isolated and confined to the events within the 70 years. 70 weeks prophecy, which was fulfilled in the first century. We know the 70 weeks prophecy culminates in the first century because Messiah is cut off. The city and the sanctuary are trampled underfoot by the Romans in 70 AD. For example, again, the Adventist Church completely misses this. They've isolated one verse of chapter 9, which says 70 weeks are determined, meaning cut out. That means that they believe it's cut out. Okay, let's look at the rest of the other parallels. In chapter 8, verse 12, it says, because of transgression or rebellion, the host was given over to the horn, and the daily was taken away. What do we see in chapter 9? Verse 24, the 70 weeks are to finish the transgression. So the transgression of chapter 8 is finalized, comes to a fulfillment in chapter 9 through the 70 weeks prophecy. In Daniel chapter 8, verse 13, it says the sanctuary and the host were to be trodden underfoot. What do we see in Daniel chapter 9 verse 26? It says, the people of the prince who is to come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. So here we see, again, and we find this perfectly fulfilled in the words of Jesus in Luke 21:24 and Revelation 11 verse 2, where the holy city Jerusalem is trodden underfoot by the Gentiles for 42 months. In Daniel chapter 8 verse 24, we are told that the little horn would destroy the mighty and the holy people. What do we see in Daniel chapter 9 verse 24? The 70 weeks were determined for Daniel's people and for his holy city. So here we see these perfect overlap, one pointing to the other, wherein the events of the little horn and the things he would do, the activities are in Daniel chapter 8 are being fulfilled, completed, brought to an end within the 70 weeks prophecy. Everything the little horn does. And again, the Roman Catholic Church did not exist in the first century, where the Adventists are saying that, you know, they're trying to push this off to a later 6th century fulfillment. Sorry guys, that doesn't work here. The events are confined to the 1st century, where the 70 weeks prophecy is showing the fulfillment of all of these things. Point number 3, transgression of desolation is synonymous with the abomination that causes desolation. In Daniel chapter 8 and Daniel chapter 12, we have a chiastic structure. In Daniel chapter 8, we see the events of the little horn are doing. He is taking away the daily. He is the transgression of desolation. And there's one saint speaking to another saint, and he asks the question, how long shall it be to the end of these things? That's exactly what we see in Daniel chapter 12. We see one saint speaking to another saint. They're both standing afar. Daniel overhears and sees this conversation going on. In Daniel chapter 12, the question is asked, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? That's the same thing we see in Daniel chapter 8. And Daniel chapter 12, it gives us more understanding. The same question, it says, how long shall it be to the taking away of the daily and the abomination that causes desolation? This is the same question asked in Daniel chapter 8. The transgression of abomination is the same thing as the desolation of abomination. And in Matthew 24, verse 15, and in Luke 21, verse 20, Jesus tells us that the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet is the same thing as when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then you will know its desolation is near. This event culminated in 70 AD, as we've been saying. So the events of Daniel chapter 8, the little horn, the work of the little horn, are brought to a conclusion as we see Gabriel gives Daniel understanding of the vision in chapter 9. The Messiah is cut off. The work of the little horn is to oppose the people, the sanctuary, the city, to trodden it underfoot. This is the fulfillment of Daniel chapter 8. It is confined to the 1st century. Brothers and sisters, please heed this message. This has nothing to do with 1844. This is all about the fulfillment and the coming of the Messiah and his first advent, and what was always been foretold. As Daniel 9 tells us, the vision was to seal up vision and prophecy. There is no more prophecy beyond 70 AD. This is it. It was fulfilled. All Jesus came and did, he promised to do, he has done. So I hope this message was a blessing. Thank you. God bless. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. God bless, friends.